And here we are. Yet another live stream. Good evening, good day, hello, guten Tag, konbanwa. Good to have you here. So, waiting for the people to come in, give you a little bit of time while it's here. Tokini Andy wrote, he would love to step by but won't be able tonight, and wishes us a great stream. And hopes I'm not too tired today. And he and his girlfriend Yuki felt exhausted all day, and I will talk about this a little more later. So you may be able to hear, my voice is a little bit damaged. Not, it's not on the usual level, and also about that I will talk in a second. Here we have Haitani, just came back from getting groceries, finally on time. Perfect timing, Haitani. Just starting, we're probably 3 people in, so nobody essentially. But yeah, the other two, let me know who you are, where you're from. Chimichangas here, guten Abend, good evening. Good to have you here. So then I start with the story. More people will come as I talk, hopefully. You can just go back in the stream and watch that. So, yesterday, I went to Naraijuku again. This time with a lot of equipment. For example, notice this stabilizer here. Then the lights I'm using right now. This camera. 2 other cameras. This microphone right here. And a lot of other stuff. And 2 more tripods and so on. 3 tripods and all that. John, hey. Good to have you here, and yeah, I'm glad you like the topic. I'm just starting about I'm rolling out the entire story. So yesterday, as I said, I went with all this stuff, all this gear to Naraijuku, a town in southern Nagano, which is on the Nakasendo. I think it's right in the middle of the Nakasendo. Nakasendo is an old road connecting Tokyo and Kyoto, and they have a 1 kilometer way through the town. It's like a 600 people town. And along that road, all the old historic buildings are still maintained. And the buildings are all of wood, and it's rather old wood. And as it happens with wood, it burns, right? So the last fire was about 180 years ago, so I think. And now, in order to protect all that, they have a lot of fire hoses and so on throughout the city, and 120. That's a lot for 600 people town. And they even from this main road they removed the overhead power lines so that it doesn't spark fire somehow. They moved them to the sides. So that's where we went yesterday. And I say we because I was thankfully joined by Tokini Andy, who made the first comment here in the chat, and his girlfriend Yuki. So thankfully I had help, because I made a little mistake. So I went there 2 weeks before and talked to a guy from the Tourist Information Center, and he was very keen on helping me, thankfully. And through his help I was able to organize a couple of interviews. Initially I thought 3 should be fine. It's a good sized video, maybe 15 minutes or so. But then I thought, okay, maybe to give me a little bit more room in the edit and so on, if maybe one interview doesn't work well or so, let's do 5. But 5 interviews in a day is a lot. And it's not like one location and they come, we go to the location. It's not just the interview. Of course, first you come there, you say hello, you explain your plan, then you set up, find a good position, place for the interview, good framing. Then you interview, and then you need to fill what they said with imagery. So you have to take a lot of B-roll, so everything that they don't say but supports what they're saying. For example, if somebody says, I make this very special coffee, then of course I want to film this person making this very special coffee, and so on. So 1 hour to doing all of that, if I was alone, would probably not be possible. So thankfully, thanks to Andy and Yuki, I was able to have hopefully good material and can produce a good video. So I didn't work on it yet today. I imported it yesterday. It's about 8 hours of footage, so it's one day just to watch everything I have. So this will take time, and before that there will be another video out anyway. So you can expect this end of June, beginning of July maybe. Now about the topic. In the first place, so there was a coffee shop and young people about my age, so young in comparison to the rest of the town. And I researched and I found that maybe not a rivalry or so, but so the husband, the man, is making coffee, and the wife, the woman, makes cake, and the cake is what is the customer's favorite. So that he the way he explained this. Usually, when people come recently in the last years, they take pictures of the cake, but pictures of the coffee, like black coffee, is not really exciting. So the cake wins. It's the favorite, but he gives his best. And then I asked him if I could film him making the coffee, and he said, yeah, sure. And then he served the coffee. I don't usually drink coffee, so I took like 2 sips or so. But then they brought cake. And since I'm the host of the video, I had to take 1 or 2, I think it was 1, pieces of the cake, which contained sugar, of course. So this was the first time since I stopped eating sugar in September for me to eat sugar again. So I do eat like fruits and so on. There's a cherry. So I don't completely stopped eating sweet stuff. I did for 3 months. I ate carrots. About that. That was the sweetest I had. And now, yesterday I ate sugar for the first time. It tasted really good. Probably because it was a very good cake, not because sugar is great. But still, I don't know yet how it is. So with sugar, it's like this, for me at least. In the first week when I stopped, I did this a couple of times before, just stopping to eat sugar. But this was the first time no sweets at all. And as it is, addictive, of course you get symptoms. And the first week is terrible. For me at least, it felt like, kind of nothing is fun anymore. Life's gotten boring, and what should I do anyway if I can't eat sweet stuff and so on? It's of course not true, but that's what it was how I felt, and that was the first week. And then of course it got better, thankfully, because it's a little bit hot here. Sorry, it's just sugar after all, so you can get over it rather easily, I think. And I maintained that until now. I'm sure somehow maybe I ate something with sugar inside, ingredients, that hidden sugar or so, probably happened. But generally, sugar. I avoided it. I checked usually the packaging and so on if there's sugar inside, and most of the things of course have that, but maybe sometimes I didn't catch it. And still, yesterday was the first time, so the next days or weeks I will see if like my nervous system remembers that and asks me to provide more every now and then. Probably it's gonna happen. But then, I don't plan on like going hardcore on sugar again or so. This was probably an exception to the rule. Maybe I will say something like, okay, if it has to happen every now and then in a very small doses, like once a month for some reason, I accept that, but it's not like So because I had this experience before, like I stopped eating sugar with the goal to do it for a certain amount of time, for a finite amount of time. And then when I went back, always it was not worth it. It was like absolutely not as good as I had imagined. So I'm not planning on going back to this like normal, quote unquote, or my pre-stopping to eat sweet stuff sugar level. Okay. Konnichiwa from Nara, from Spokeskay. Good to have you here. From Nara, excellent. I think I've never been to Nara actually. Maybe I like driven through or so, but never exited. That's also this has to change at some point. Did you just cut out added sugar, ate more fruits? Yeah, so essentially processed sugar is what I mean when I say sugar here. So I eat fruits like here. More fruits, not, I don't know. Like I would maybe every other day or so eat like a bowl of fruits in the morning for breakfast. And depending on what's in there is maybe a lot or not. Hey, Dreamy Sampa, good to have you here. And I am doing fine here, thankfully. So yesterday was a very exhausting day, of course. So the shoot was long, and we happened to be, of course, a little delayed here and there. So we had to make that up by cutting our lunch break like very short. So we just had like, because it was Friday yesterday, and it's state of emergency, many stores had closed. So we just got like oyaki, which is like a bun thing, and gourmet mochi, which like rice paste, I think. What is it, grilled or so? And then some sauce. Can you say sauce? Yeah, on top, and then you eat it. So it was not a lot, but it kind of did the job to bring us through the day. Still, it was like go, 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 go. It was not a lot of breaks at all. But still, great. So from the interviews, 3 were okay. 1 was good and 1 was outstanding, I think. But of course, in the edit, I have to then cut out some of that stuff, obviously, because I can't have an 8-hour video. Daniel says I'm fallen off the wagon. Yeah. Kind of. Maybe like went too close to the edge of the wagon and like kind of one leg got down, and I'm trying to get up again and get a strong foothold. Worth a day trip only to Nara. I guess it depends on whom you know or what your plans are. So same for Narai, like a 600. I went there 2 weeks ago with the intention to make a video, and then I walked through. And yeah, it's like 1 kilometer. It's always kind of the same pattern of houses. Like there's not a lot of video to make there. I mean, it looks nice, but you can't fill 10 minutes with that. And then, of course, if you take the initiative to talk to people and get to know them and so on, then it gets interesting, and then probably you can spend. Then 600 people all of a sudden is really a lot. And I guess it can be the same with Nara. Of course, I imagine like the big temple is like the main attraction, and the deers and so on. And outside of that, I don't know if there will be a lot. But, right, depends on what your goals are. From a tourist perspective, it's the same with Nagano. So here's the big temple, not as big as Nara, but also pretty big. And after that, it gets a little thin. Hi from Tokyo, from Wei Gaijin. Wei Gaijin, welcome here. Good to have you here. John asks, do you feel better eating very little sugar? No change, I think. I mean, since fruits also contain sugar, right? It's just not processed. I think my system is not like starving on sugar. Yeah. Who is gonna feed those poor little deer if Nara doesn't visit? I know what you mean. I heard they're going hungry during the pandemic. Yeah, I can imagine. But I also heard they're quite aggressive. A friend of mine, he put the food into his like chest pocket, and they bit his nipple because they want the food. Tannoji temple. It's actually amazing though. Okay, that's the big temple in Nara, right? And the deer are pests. Very aggressive already, and now they're really bad. I see. Tennoji, not Tannoji. I see. Yeah, I can imagine. Now they're hungry and starving, and yeah. And by the way, the voice. So day before yesterday evening, it started to go away. And yesterday morning, it hadn't gotten better. So I ate, I drank hot milk, and I made soba-cha, so tea from soba, buckwheat, and filled that into a thermos can. And it kind of worked, I think, maybe on this level or so in the video. So you probably hear it. It's not perfect, but it's not like completely going away. And in the end, it stabilized around this level. So it was like, and I did lots of mistakes. Like the first interview, before that I shot a little bit of B-roll, so like environment and so on. And I thought, okay, let's do some slow motion here. And I forgot to switch it back. And the thing with slow motion is it doesn't record audio. So then we didn't have audio. Thankfully, I realized that immediately after the interview. So I asked him to do it again. Which was, of course, not a little bit embarrassing, but better than not realizing it at all. Should you make one video with just the outstanding interview and a separate video for the other? Yeah, probably not. Right now, maybe if there will be then a lot of interest in that, then I will go back and talk to this person again. So he has one. You want to see a picture? Oh, wait a second. So I have all the videos here on Final Cut. And that's my editing program. And probably, so when you see his face, let me quickly screen share. Can you see that? When you see his face, probably you already see, yeah, this is a character and this is an interesting person. Wait, let me make it bigger. So he is a very great speaker, and yeah, he put it all really eloquently, way better than I would have. And he is interestingly also a very good photographer. So he showed us a couple of his pictures, and they're really good. So, and he also allowed me to use them in the video, and so maybe I will if it makes sense for the story. The thing is though, now I need to find a story for the whole thing. So like some overarching something that binds them all together. And it was also interesting to see how, so I had a base set of 4 questions, 4 basic questions, done a couple of questions for the specific store, and everybody had different answers to the questions, except for one question, which is what they like the most about Narai. And what the answer could be, you can guess in the comments. If you're right, then I will tell you. I will tell you you are right. Tennoji has a massive Buddha. Yeah, right. A Daibutsu. But by the way, Nagano has also Daibutsu. Not as massive, but it's like totally unknown, I think, by most. It's not so far from Zenkoji, which is the big temple here. Zenkoji has a hidden Buddha statue, which is the first picture of Buddha to ever arrive in Japan, apparently. In like 500 something, I think. I forgot. I made a video about it. You can search that. And yeah, it's hidden. That means it's never shown to anybody. And by anybody, I mean anybody. So not even the head priest, nobody. And then only every 6 or 7 years, a copy of the original, which was made a couple of 100 years ago, is shown to the public. And it's a big event, like 2 million people will come over a period of 30 days or so. And it should have been this year, but now it will be next year, the next time. And by chance, for the previous 2 times, 2015 and 2009, I was here. Not living here, but as a tourist. Mix a little cinnamon with honey, that helps with the voice, and gargle with salt water. Yeah, it's fine. I mean, I googled already what happened, but thank you for the support. I'm not concerned about it going away or so. So Naya, no, it's Naya. Ninja Monkey in Seville, Spain. Or do you say no? It's not French. It's Seville, maybe. Still watching for a bit, showing support. Thank you, Ninja Monkey. Appreciate. Hoping to find a Japanese restaurant here. So you don't have any in Gibraltar. Interesting. I didn't know. Then again, we also don't have any German restaurants here in Nagano, I think. None that I know of. Certainly none that are authentic. But that's a difficult thing in Japan anyway. There's a chain called Schmatz, which is run by Germans, but it's very adjusted to the Japanese taste, with like to put sauce on the schnitzel and so on. Yeah, this is like unthinkable for me. Yeah, and that was a good day yesterday. So I think I'm very confident that all in all we did more right than wrong. And of course we will learn a lot from once we realize all the mistakes we made. That being said, before I start editing this one, I will have to finish the previous video about the rice terraces of Obaste here close to Nagano City. And that's also a good one, I think, I hope. I hope you will agree. And it has a lot of things like abandoned buildings and footpath and rice fields and meeting old people playing flutes and things like that. Food, of course, food is a must. So it's going to be a good one. Right now it's about 12, 11 or so. Probably eventually will be a little shorter, 10:30 maybe. That should be good. Can you clear up a confusion? What exactly is happening with the snow festival in the future? I heard there was a problem with the snow and the future of the event even before COVID. The one in Hokkaido? I'm not sure. I've never been there, so I don't really know. But sometimes we have another expert here who lives in Hokkaido. Maybe he knows. If he will make it here, then we can ask him again. Then he asks, are all the interviews going to be for one video, or will you make multiple videos from it? So far I'm thinking of one. So previously I had a similar choice when in 2017, late 2017, a friend of mine and I went to hunt for the best Wagyu in Japan. And we visited like the places. So we went to Kobe, to Matsusaka, and then to Yamagata. And then I decided to do one each. And I think in hindsight, I think it would have been better for the viewers because it was like I introduced a thing and then picked a friend up and then go there and so on. So there's a lot of progression in like physical progression, but it's not really so entertaining when that happens all the time. So whenever there's a sequence like that, the audience retention goes down usually. So instead, if it makes sense and it is like provides value and entertainment throughout, then it's okay to split. But if it doesn't, then I will put it into one and make it like really as entertaining as possible. You're getting very close to 20,000 subscribers. Yes, I think so, maybe. Wait a second. So I don't look at the statistics a lot these days, but let me see where we are. Yeah, like 144 left in a week or so. Yeah. Damn the algorithm. Yeah, I mean, it's also something you're, I hope, profiting from because you get, but I mean, it's like, it makes me make the video that you hopefully like or that entertains you. To some extent, of course. Then on the other side, there's also like, I don't want to do stuff I don't like, I wouldn't like to watch. So it's not like I'm totally enslaved by the algorithm or so, obviously, if you see how my last videos performed. Okay, let me have a cherry. Cheers. Also, it's really hot in here. Yeah. Anyway, so there's something to look forward to. I hope you do as I don't know if as much as I do, but I hope you will enjoy the video eventually. What I realized already in the footage is that my hairstyle was not good. I brought it into place in the morning. I thought it would stay that way, and didn't use any hair product or so. But it was like this, very nerdy. Maybe that's good. Maybe that fits self-expression. You're the calm spirit animal compared to Chris Broad's constant cynicism. Yeah, to be honest, sarcasm is I mean, I could also do sarcasm, of course, and maybe it would get more views. And it's also easy to do that, for me at least. But I don't want to, even if it's just my persona on screen, I don't want to spend energy being in this emotional state. Like sarcasm, complaining maybe or so. Because it still affects me, even if it's an act. So I usually decide not to do that. If I can't say anything positive, then I just don't say it. That being said, Chris is very funny, and he's a very nice guy in person, I think. If you're trying to answer a question, what is best ramen? Who killed JFK? What is machine learning? It makes sense to have one video. If it's not so specific, could perhaps do more than one. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I have an idea, but it will still need to be, I don't know if it works yet. Is Nadai a little cooler than Nagano, or about the same? It's cooler, I think. So yesterday we had, Nadai was 22 or so, Nagano I think more like 25, 6 or so. It's probably higher also. I think so, most likely. So on this Nakasendo, this road connecting Tokyo and Kyoto, it's the highest of the checkpoints. So I would assume. I don't know exactly the height, but I would assume. It's also interesting. So I was lucky to have a guide yesterday, Michael, who could show me around and explain things like what I explained in the beginning with no power lines and so on. And also he explained about the different stores and so on. And he absolutely wants me to come back already and do more about different stores and so on. I already told him, like, next time if I were to come, probably I would stay overnight or so to do it more properly, have more time. 2 or 3 max a day. And yeah, anyway, so I forgot where I was going, but I was lucky to have this guy as well. So, and it was also by all these people, like 6-7 people being interviewed. Michael, my guide, then 2 people, my crew, was like the biggest production in terms of people depending on me that I have done until now. So the day before I was a little nervous. I tried to do my homework as well as I could, but I didn't really have so much. So usually, as you may know, I try to make the story before I go as much as I can, but I couldn't really. Because, of course, there's this unknown, which is the interview, which is like the meat of the story, of course, for the biggest part. And I don't know what they will say. I don't know the people yet. So I can't really I can't really fit the puzzle pieces together in advance. So that was challenging and making me a little bit nervous. Hello, different games. Good to have you here. Ronnie, hi sir, remember me? I think so, yes. Not specifically, but I know you've been here before, especially since you say remember me. And you don't have to call me sir. You can call me Johannes. Or you. Daniel is listening, but also trying to straighten up his place. Got an open house today. One buyer looked at my place and wants to make an offer already. Oh, nice. Maybe the open house will attract other buyers. Nice, nice. Is it in your area? Is your apartment also, was that Seattle or so, right? Is it in your area common to purchase above listing price? Or will it be like the same, or maybe someone to go lower? So I actually don't know how it's in Japan. I guess if I would like to try, but if I were to purchase something, but I don't know if it would work. Demiran can't partake in the stream, unfortunately, just stopping to say have a good one and an enjoyable weekend. Have fun, everybody. You too, Demiran. Thank you for your message. Wait a second, I look here. Maybe I should be more over here. God, it looks better. But now I'm out of focus. Problems. 1 second. Good. And then different games. How easy is in Japan to get a therapist for your mental health? This is because in terms of sharing feelings and thoughts, Japan is completely different than Western countries. I don't know. And I also don't know how it would be for some to find, how easy it would be to find a therapist that understands the way you think and so on and can be beneficial to that. So I really don't know, because I've never consulted a therapist. Until now, at least. You ever seen a dude called Vagrant Holiday? Dude hitchhiked around Japan and slept rough. Super weird and interesting. I see. No, I haven't. Not yet, at least. Slept rough, I see. Dangerous with the bears. Apparently, in this time of the year, they're already out. The market is busy here. Okay. Going from Chicago suburbs into Chicago. I was Chicago. Oh, yeah. Sorry. I moved you. Okay. That was that. Okay, I mean, hopefully you can get a couple of more people to make an offer, and then they have a war, biting war, and you get the best out of it. The business around mental health in Japan could be an interesting video. Never saw anybody talking about it in a video, and yes, I also never saw it. And yeah, but then again, I'm not sure. Again, because I don't like talking about negativity or so, in what direction they would go. I mean, it's okay to have a challenge, and then, you know, a good story, of course, has a challenge in the beginning, but it also has a positive ending, like, or hopefully, I mean, there's some resolution to the challenge. Anyway, stop moving me to Seattle. Okay. Did I do that before? I have another cherry. By the way, cherries are expensive here. It's a topic so unusual in Japan, but so normalized in the West. Mental health. Yeah. I mean, of course, when it comes to karoshi and so on, overwork, death, and so on, and which is of course a mental health issue in the end. If it goes to suicide or so, then I think there's more and more interest, and especially bigger companies are very, very careful. So this aspect is probably gets coverage and so on, but general mental health, I'm not sure. People struggling and so on. Yeah, kind of, maybe sometimes you see it on TV in the dramas and so on, I think, but I don't watch it too much, so I can't really comment a lot. As I can generally also not comment on that topic a lot. I think it might be too much energy to act like a character for a YouTube channel all the time. Yeah, sure, but I mean, you know, you film a video for a day, and then and even on that day you have a couple of scenes, right? And of course, if it's something like that you already kind of can do easily, like being sarcastic or so, then it may work. And I mean, it's an actor's job, right? Or a performer's job even, with YouTubers. Maybe. Support exists, it's just not regularly accessed. Not sure if the topic is not mental health about support or if the topic is overwork and so on. It's pretty bad for single women at the moment. Suicide rate went up sharply for young unmarried women over COVID. Ah, interesting. Didn't know. We can now see all of the couch behind you. Yeah, I forgot the light again to put it there. It really needs a great big teddy bear or something on it to add some interest. I could put the light there, but I don't want to get up. Karoshi. Yeah, karoshi. Death by overwork. Yeah, death by overwork. Yeah, it's. I mean, I wouldn't do that. Probably. I mean, maybe to some extent I would like to go do, but then it's, no. No. But still, I mean, Japanese people know that and they talk about this as well. Like if somebody works a lot or so, they say, hey, take care and don't do karoshi or don't do karoshi away. One of the obnoxious subscribe pillows. Oh yeah, the YouTube pillow or something. No, we need a Japanese journey pillow, like this thing with this logo on it. And then maybe some lights around the pillow, like to highlight it even more. Or from just out of frame somehow, maybe from the side here, from here, from this side, like shining on it full. Something like this light maybe up here for the picture. Here, this. That should work. Then I think, yeah, would definitely would add value to this layout. I did actually consider for the sugar. I thought maybe after a year I should make something like I stopped eating sugar for a year. Here's what happened video. But of course it doesn't fit the channel, so maybe as a short or so, or a couple of shorts. But then no, it didn't work out. Too bad. Common at black companies, karoshi. I don't know how common it actually is. I mean, you hear stories every now and then, but of course you don't know how much doesn't get covered. Spokes-K touched an interesting point. Are Japanese women that went through a divorce already and are single as badly seen as in China, where they're seen as used and not wanted? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I know. I think the only people I know that are divorced because of a new partner. So I don't know if there's a stigma in general. Of course, there's like the there used to be this like Christmas thing after the 25th. The Christmas tree gets thrown out or so. What was that? Not the tree. What was that? But essentially after 25, like you have no value anymore for that. That was the age. Now it's like 30 or so. So people want to try to get married by 30. But many people I know also don't care. Say, yeah, I would like to get married. But they are not particularly like out and hunting or something, or dating all the time. So I'm not sure. I wonder if there's a Glassdoor equivalent in Japan. Glassdoor works here too. How much money did you save from cutting out processed sugar? Ha! I have no idea. Yeah, probably some. I mean, of course, I also lost weight. I mean, I lost weight kind of through that and the disease. Money. I mean, I don't. Yeah, probably I do, because like when you go to a store, right, then you have like a lot of stuff that just doesn't apply to you anymore. So no chocolate, no, probably most chips and so on also have sugar, and like all the snack stuff. I don't snack as much anymore, and if I do, then it's like this: cherries, fruits, something like that, carrots, and then of course I don't need to purchase that. But on the other hand, fruits very expensive in Japan, so I'm not really sure. Maybe it's balanced or so. Sometimes I think, yeah, an ice, especially when my wife or so has one, like, yeah, an ice would be nice today. But that goes away. Divorce rates are low in Japan generally. Yes, yes, true. I mean, many couples do that, just stay together and don't even talk to each other anymore. Like live in the same house but don't communicate. I mean, I don't understand it. Maybe cultural, so I don't know. I feel I wouldn't like to do that. I don't think I would be happy with that, but still, I don't know. Christmas cakes, yeah, that's the one. It didn't come up because we don't have Christmas cakes in Germany. Still misogynistic here. There are equivalent websites for everything in Japan. Yeah, that's true. But Glassdoor works probably, at least for international, for most even for Japanese companies. I searched, I found something. Process, but then maybe the standpoint or the person writing the review or whatever, maybe foreigner, which may be even good for you or for me. Kakigori, no, ice, just ice, like popsicles or something. Stick, ice on a stick. Danny Panic, not sure. Anecdotal evidence, in my opinion, really. Ah, sorry. And Danny asked something. I skipped it. Is the divorce rate low? He asked to Spokes-K because people just accept cheating more. Yeah, I'm also not sure about that. I mean, I'm sure my wife wouldn't accept that. I mean, she tells me at least. um, and I mean, but I also know some couples where they do, and I'm not sure. I mean, that's not my business really, right? They say yeah, and they know, and still they don't want a divorce, and that's it. Then different games also answered. Probably, actually, that is the thing that shocks me the most about Japan. How much cheating is normalized there. Yeah, again, I don't know. So I know I know some people that do, or it happened to them, and I know some people that don't accept it. And I don't have statistics, so I can't really tell. Spokes-K says Nani? What is the cheapest fruit in Japan? I think bananas are usually cheap because they're from the Philippines, which are rather close. And they're also available, I think, year round. Of course, the price changes a lot, and depending on how they are, like, on the plantation and so on, I guess it changes. But I feel like bananas. The most expensive one, though, melons, probably. At least when I used to work in Roppongi, in one of those skyscrapers, and in the basement they had like a shopping area, and there was a kind of Apple store for fruits, I would say. So I had like 3 strawberries for $20 or so, and the most expensive was like a melon for, I don't know what, 200 or so. Ah no, the last time actually there was also mangoes. I think 3 for 100, something like that. Yeah, that's that. Aminox here. So Aminox, we had a question before about the snow festival. I was asked if there's any update about its existence or something, or struggles during the pandemic or so. And I said I couldn't answer, but maybe you could. I don't know, just because you're from Hokkaido. I don't know if you really can. Aminox says, you missed trending things to do. You should have joined the fake internet outrage about pitch accent. That's totally not planned between Met vs Japan, Japanese from Zero, and Dogen also got pulled in. Sarcasm may occur. Yeah, I mean, fine though. I think they do their thing, and they all try to provide value, even though that may be fake or may not. I mean, I don't know. So, yeah. Ramana Mohan, hi. How much weight did you lose? I don't know, was that 6-7 kilos or so maybe. So too much. So it was around about 10%. I think I was like 75-ish, 76, and went down to 79 or 8. 69 or 8. Which is, yeah, not, I mean, it's still okay from the BM if you look at the body mass index, but it's not, usually I like to be around 72 or so. Yeah, but it was because, disease and so on. Did it affect your mood? Losing weight? Or, I mean, yeah, I mean, before that I had so I was very well trained and in shape before moving to Japan, and here changed a little bit with like family and lots of work. So I didn't like the shape anymore so much. So yeah, it positively affect my mood, of course, then. But the disease doesn't, and did the contrary. But then getting out of that, at least to the extent I could, not eating sugar. I mean, first week certainly negatively, and since then, I don't know, because it has become the new normal, right? Not having sugar anymore. What I liked really, and what I remember is how like my taste not kind of normalized, or all of a sudden you start to taste all the things that were always like not possible because they're too subtle and the sugar just overshadows everything. So that was something I really liked, and then they positively recognized. And that, yeah, sometimes. I mean, especially around Christmas was like when my parents sent all the sweet stuff here. Like we have marzipan kartoffeln, marzipan potatoes, which I couldn't eat, and we still have most of them. There was a little sad, of course. Like, yeah, especially around this time, I would like to have this taste and bring up the memories and so on, connected to that, which are positive. But it's nothing like terrible or so. It's something I can cope with. Spokes K, gonna have to step out. Have a good night, everyone. Good luck with the videos, dude. Thank you, Spokes K. Thank you for being here until now. The Snow Festival was cancelled last year. The 2021 physical events are cancelled, quote unquote. And this year it will be an online event, says Aminox. There we have it. So online event, interesting. Yeah, here of course also all the Matsuri, the festivals are cancelled. Nagano City's biggest festival is called Binzuru and is on the, I think, first or second Saturday of August. So it's very hot, and it's a dancing festival. So the streets are filled in front of from the temple Zenkoji almost to the station, which is like 2 kilometers. I think there are 20,000 people so dancing there. So you could really say almost all the city, not really, but a lot of people really. And you see all these different groups, and it's as simple. It's like, and for example, my friend Andy, who did the first message in this chat, if you scroll up, he was actually dancing, performing the last year, I think, and the last time it worked, 2019 or so. And yeah, and you see a lot of different groups, like karate dojo or something, or flower shop, and so on. Perform the thing, and then of course, like, you can get like skewers and whatever you like. Kakigori came up, like shaved ice with sugar stuff on top, and drinks, of course, and have a good time. And then night comes, and the nice thing about night in Nagano in summer is it's kind of fresh. In Tokyo it may be still too hot, but in Nagano it's fine. So that's good. And then, yeah, it's a pretty nice experience. However, it didn't happen last year and probably won't happen this year. I don't know if it has been cancelled already, but I would imagine it to happen. And also there's a fireworks festival in November, which will also not happen. Which also did not happen. May happen this year. I guess November may be okay. Hopefully. We found a Japanese restaurant, but run by a lovely Filipino, so can't practice my Japanese. Oh, too bad. But I hope it's good. What do they have? Gute Nacht, Spokeskay. Good evening. Good night. Do they have, like, are they specialized, like sushi or so, or ramen or something, like in Japan? Or do they have a lot, like a family restaurant or so? For example, in Munich, there's the ramen restaurant called Takumi. And they focus on ramen, but they also have gyoza, which is okay for ramen, also in Japan. But also like takoyaki, which is the little dough balls but with a little what's taco? Octopus thing inside. Okay. So they have their speciality and what they focus on, but they still cover more than that. I don't think they have sushi though. And of course, speciality means they can really focus on improving the craft there, which is usually good for you as the customer. Could you talk about how different is work culture in Japan compared to other European countries or US, Tokyo, or any other city in Japan? So I don't know the US, of course. So I can make a very surface levels comparison when it comes to holidays. So usually for Europeans like me, Japanese holidays are terrible. Like the amount you get 10 days after half a year for 1 year is laughable. And then when your colleagues back in Europe here, or your friends here, that these 10 days also cover sick leaves, then they're like 10 days, yeah, they understand, Japan, they heard that, but no infinite sick leaves? Like, what? You only have 10 and you need to... And that's why everybody's wearing a mask and going to work even though they're sick. So that's incomprehensible. For the US people, it's like kind of the same. They feel, I feel at least that they feel. And then the Chinese counterparts, they have like 5 days off a year. So for them, it's pretty nice. Then... for work culture, so I've only worked in Germany and Japan so far, so I can only compare that. And also there, I was employed in Japan and I was self-employed in Germany, so it doesn't really compare perfectly. But again, I think what's predominant in Germany is you can't make overtime. If you do, then you have to take that off. You have to stay even eventually at 0. And in Japan, you can up to 100 hours a month, which is quite a difference, right? 100 hours is on a 40-hour work week. It's plus 2.5 weeks per month. That's a big thing, a big amount of time. And yeah, it shows kind of, when it comes to social pressure, of course, that's also there. Like in Germany, you take off, you have to. And when you take your holiday, that's also, you take the holiday. That's how it is, that's by law. And here again, you don't have to take your holiday. I think you have to take 5 days now, so at least per year. But it's not like 30 like in Germany. And then of course there's the culture or the feeling. You take the time off or you leave on time after 8 hours, but everybody else is still working. And then you get the feeling, is this really okay or so? I'm a manager, so I try to be a role model and leave exactly on time as much as I can and do as little overtime as I can. That's all I can say, I think. Oh, donation. Oh, thank you so much, Daniel. No, I am in Ox. Sorry. Yes. Still no, yes, right. Still no notification. Thank you so much. $20, if that was all from you. Thank you so much. And actually, last time you also got a super chat, which is not counted here. So it should be saying 230. Just before the live stream, I tried to fix that, but I didn't. And I also didn't even consider I tried to fix that first and then do the animation or whatever. But yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And yeah, again, if you do, there's a Tippy stream link in the description, which has a way lower cost for so when you donate money, then way more will arrive at me, at my bank account, and not at Google's. So if you want that, then you can use it. Of course, Super Chat is very welcome as well, if you're into that. And but I don't get a notification in the chat here. So since I'm very focused on the chat, and I haven't made any animation or so on the screen yet, connected to the stream. Just if you want everybody to know you donated, please write it in the chat. Then I also can understand it and see where, and properly thank you for your support. So as you see here, it says drone goal. So I'm trying to get a good drone eventually with the support within this year maybe. And for example, yesterday would have been nice to have a drone, like to see this, because really not big of a valley, and then coming from above, see all the mountains and so on. It would have been nice, especially like flying and then having maybe the intro or so. But in the future, I'm sure it will happen. Okay, now I skipped a couple. Ninja Monkey will post pictures on Instagram. Okay, I think I'm not sure if I'm. Yeah, I should be, because we're chatting there. Probably I'm following you. Ramana Moha, what do we eat if we are vegan 100% in Japan? That's a good question. So there are certainly vegan options. The more countryside you get, it may be harder. But there is, what was it called? I forgot it, but like temple food. So essentially what monks would eat, which is all vegan, I think. Is it just vegetarian? I think it's vegan. And there's also a website. I forgot, was it? There are certainly websites listing only vegan options. That being said, somebody maybe already answered. May not, okay. That being said, compared to where I'm from, it's much harder to be vegan or vegetarian. I used to be a vegetarian for 5 years, from 2005 to 10, and that was all not so fun. Back then it wasn't a trend like now. But no, when I left, then 6 years after I stopped, it was already much easier in Germany. And I would also love to reduce meat consumes. Do you say that? Consuming meat a little more, but it's not so easy here, I feel. But it's certainly possible, Ramana. But I'm not sure how fun it would be. Probably you would have to cook a lot yourself. Okay. Chimichanga retracted a message which asks where I'm from, mentioning the town specifically. So since it's retracted, I don't answer. Are you going to have a virtual Olympics this year? I have no idea. I mean, me on this channel? No. I know John Dobb will go do things. Even if we were to, YouTubers like me or him or somebody were to go to these events, they're all licensed, right? So if we were to stream something from that, we get copyright strikes. So nobody does it. I'm not sure if I've ever been to a Japanese restaurant in the US that had actual Japanese-speaking people running the place. Even sushi places have Hispanic American or Chinese American people working. Interesting. So the one ramen shop I mentioned, they are Japanese. My wife gets like super upset because they're Japanese and the service is not good. It's good for German standards, but they're Japanese. Come on. I asked her, did you like it? And no. Why, the ramen is kind of average, right, for Japanese level. And yeah, that ramen okay, but they need to be more polite. They're Japanese. And also the sushi place I went to usually went to, which was a cheaper one in Munich, where I'm from. Also, this one had a Japanese chef. The owner was not Japanese though. Then the US is not much different than Japan on holiday. Technically, the amount of holiday time anyone is guaranteed by the government is 0 days. Okay, then Japan is even better off. Google takes a hefty 30%, I believe. It depends a little bit. So, for example, if you use the YouTube app and use in-app purchases to do that, then of course there's the 30% for the Play Store, for example, or App Store, and then there's YouTube on top of that. So it will be 50% or so even. Shojin ryori is Buddhist meals, vegetarian. Okay. Shojin, that was the one. Wasn't sure. Andre Müller, good to have you here. Okay, Ramana. Chimichanga says there are some vegan restaurants. Depends where you are in Japan. Yeah, especially of course the bigger cities, Tokyo, Osaka. They certainly have options. I went to a vegan restaurant in was it Jiugaoka, I think. Or was it Nakameguro? I think Jiugaoka. Which was good, but only once with work colleagues. I think PewDiePie went there also at some point. They use dashi in a lot of stuff, that's true. That's fish stock for broth and so on. Which uses fish, yeah. So it's tough to be vegan. By no sugar you mean keto. I don't know what keto entails, so I have to search that. But keto is also no diet. So if so, anyway, no. So probably I would take me some time now to get into it, into a keto diet, and yeah. And then for the newcomers here, again, sorry for my voice here. It has been broken since essentially yesterday morning, and then yesterday we had a day of shooting, so it didn't help, and now it's still kind of like this. Chimichanga hit the wrong button. I want to ask if you are from Munich. I'm from Munich, yes. There are some Japanese restaurants in the US where the owners and sushi chefs are Japanese. I think Nobu in New York, for example. Okay. Ricardo Furtado, good to have you again. I'm fine, thank you. And you? You see, if you have been in the last live stream, I explained about this. How are you? And then you have to reply, I'm fine, thank you, and you in Japanese. So I internalized that. Ramana Mohan asks, were you ever in the middle of an earthquake? Could you share experience? Were you scared? Were you prepared? I was, yes. And the first one actually was the strongest one. It was a 6.5, I think, or 6.7 or so. And we had just parked the car in front of my parents-in-law's house and gotten out of the car. And then it started, because earthquakes itself don't make sounds, of course, right? But the things that shake. So it's like, tick, 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 tick. And it's like, why is everybody closing their blinders at the same time? Like, oh, and the dog's barking and so on. It's an earthquake. And my girlfriend, now wife, came over. It's like shaking. So it was that. It wasn't interesting, just I wasn't sorry. Since I never experienced it, I couldn't really prepare for the sensation. It was interesting. Yeah, funny maybe even. In that particular moment, nothing happened to anybody to anybody I know. A couple of things tipped over at the temple here and so on. A couple of things broke, but I think maybe even also nobody died or so. And this was the biggest one, and then smaller ones, especially when we moved to Kanto area. Then we had in the first month we had 3 or so small ones. Okay, it's shaking a little bit. But no, never really, nothing really broke or so, nothing terrible. Yeah, that's my experience so far. But of course, you never know. I mean, Nagano, where I'm in central Japan, is not. So this is Pacific Ring of Fire, where 2 and 3 continental plates overlap, touch each other, and that's where a lot is happening, and that's on the Pacific side of Japan. And so central Japan is safer, and then of course the Sea of Japan side, as it's called in Japan, is also safer. So it doesn't happen that frequently here. Still happens though. Where was I? Maybe a bit offensive, but I thought it funny when I saw this sign in an American restaurant. We offer vegan option, go elsewhere. Yeah. I can see how I mean, I can probably they're fed up or so and they don't want to so, but they have to do it like that. I mean, when I was vegetarian, and then students on, let's go to McDonald's. Oh, okay, go to McDonald's. Do you have anything vegetarian? And then the guy's like, we have fries. I also had salad though. And then after a couple of years, they introduced a vegan burger option there as well, which was so, but better than nothing, right? Or just fries. You're German. I thought you were from Seattle. No. Yeah. I mean, I lived in Seattle for most of the time, for most of my life, but originally I'm from Germany. And I trained really hard to get this accent back, so that people that immediately think that I'm actually from Germany, even though I lived in Seattle for such a long time. Okay, Ricardo Fortade is good, excellent. Do you miss sauerkraut? I don't know if I certainly ate sauerkraut at some point, but I don't know when the last time. Maybe 10 years ago or so. No, I don't. And also you can buy it even in the normal supermarkets here. I don't know why you would buy that though. I guess sauerkraut, I don't know what goes well with sausages or so, but then you would need good sausages for that, and that's the problem. My friend experienced an earthquake in Osaka in 2018. He was visiting Osaka and stayed in a hotel at 8th or 12th floor, and he was freaking out with the building moving up. Swaying, right? Yeah, I can see that. A friend of mine, a senpai of mine, was working in his office in Roppongi Hills. It's a skyscraper in 2011. That was probably pretty freaky. But he said the Japanese, like, there's always like, the shogunai can't do anything anyway, just continue work. I don't know if it's true. Although he looked outside and the Japanese people in the other apartments were having dinner or watching TV as if nothing had happened. Yeah, exactly right. They are kind of used to that. Or it's like, if this building like breaks down or so, what do you want to do? If you die in your room or on the staircase, or if you get hit by the building, then it doesn't change much. Japanese people don't even raise an eyebrow if the earthquake intensity is below 3.5. They even don't even feel it, right? Maybe very little bit. It's like, oh, jishin, and that's it. I remember one of the first days of work, first weeks or so, there was an alarm, and iPhones have, maybe even Japanese Android phones have this alarm system, and then they're like, jishin desu, so there's an earthquake, and you're like, oh shit. And then if you're in an office and it's everywhere, jishin desu. But it was somewhere we didn't feel it at all. But that happens sometimes. That's also like, ooh, breaking into like a little sweating and like, oh, and nothing happens. Japanese, as you said that they used it. I, however, had never experienced, but got woken up by a 6.9 after only 5 days in Japan. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. How was it? Did you fall out of bed? Why sauerkraut when you can have natto, right? Yeah, I wouldn't say. I mean, if I had the choice, like one or the other, and I must, I'm not sure. It depends on the dose, how much it is. Probably if it was like 1 pack of natto and one like glass of sauerkraut, I would choose the natto. If it was like a bit each, yeah, maybe sauerkraut, not sure. I lost count of the number of earthquakes that happened while sleeping, where I didn't even bother to get up. Yeah, sometimes like you get up, or you're like, earthquake? And then next morning I talked to my wife and she's like, oh really? And then like maybe a picture is like, boop. And then oh yeah, indeed, something happened in the Google. 3.7 or something. Don't care. What I don't like though is earthquakes in front of Fukushima. It's always like, is this like kind of at least to some extent stabilized? Did they learn something? Will they survive another 20 meters tsunami there? I'm not sure. So yeah, that's something that's probably the scariest about for me when it comes to earthquakes here. At least right now, that's my feeling. May change. How do How do Japanese relax or spend their time over the weekend? Did you spend time in any village in Japan? How was the experience? Over the weekend? Good question. I mean, for me, usually I just play with my kids, go shopping and do stuff, that needs to be done. Sometimes, yeah, we go somewhere, wherever that may be. But usually if you go to a ryokan, I think, so Japanese inn, then it's only for one night. Usually, I think. I think though you should do 3 at least. Maybe 2 nights, 3 days or more. That's appropriate, I feel, to really get you down. But it's also expensive, right? It's not something you can do every weekend. So going to parks and so on, right? Playing where kids can play, playgrounds, things like that, I think is from people my age anyway, if they have family. Like my age and my life situation. Do you like the Japanese work culture? I mean, they're it's hard to say an exclusive yes, and it's hard to say an exclusive no. So there's certainly things I don't like, and the things I think are good. I like the seriousness, and I don't like the inefficiency for communication. I, as I mentioned before, I'm not a big fan of not having enough holiday. And on the other hand, when I now look at Germany, when people have like essentially they're off for 2 months a year, how can this be? how can this be cost efficient? So that's what I'm wondering, but somehow it's working still, at least. And so there must be something off. Probably it's too much work because you work more, right? You're exhausted, you make more mistakes. It takes more work to fix that. So there are positives and there are negatives. So I mean, I certainly grew a lot from working here. One, of course, the international or cultural challenge, the professional growth I could experience in that, and so on. So it's a good experience, but I don't know if that's for everyone, or even if I would like to continue that forever, or until I retire. I mean, the first, especially the first year, I really was very busy. So essentially, my time was divided in YouTube. I work, biggest of course, YouTube and Japanese. So these three, and there was really very little thing to slack off, very little time to slack off or procrastinate or anything. Which I like if the overall thing itself is so rewarding that it doesn't matter. But, I think it was at that time this year. But then I also I try to be in the office at 7 a.m. so I avoid the rush hour. So that means getting up at 5, and for getting up at 5 means you need to sleep at 9. But that doesn't always work, or didn't for me anyway. And then it kind of developed itself to later, and then I didn't get enough sleep, and then became unhealthy. And then I changed it. Had to change it. I think many Japanese go outside hiking or seeing flower parks or picnic. Yeah, I mean, also depends on the age, I think. Nagano, of course, lends itself to hiking because there are mountains everywhere. Super nice. But then again, you can't. It's hard to hike when you have like a 1-year-old baby or so, or 4-year-old or something like that. Or then you ask your partner to take care of the kids and then go alone or something, which is also okay, but you can't do it every time. And then again, the parks and so on come into play because that's something for the whole family. When I was visiting my girlfriend, now my wife, congratulations, in 2017, on the second day, I woke up with the alert from North Korea text. That was scaring for me. Yeah, we even had it here in Nagano. Huh? Wait, was it Nagano? 2017. Yes, it wasn't. We were still in Nagano. I think, yeah, we woke up by that as well. This was like fun. Twice. Japanese are supposed to be very reserved, but in my experience, they can go in on almost any hobby without being judged by everyone else. However, if it bleeds outside of a hobby, they become otaku. Yeah, probably. I don't know. But yeah, certainly. I mean, some people at my work or so, they have like cameras I could only dream of. Like, why do you need like this kind of camera if you do like hobby photography? Just because they can, I guess, or because that's what they want. But I see that. I mean, if you really want to, like, not just make it for fun, but actually improve and become, like, get to a level where you're really good, then you need to invest. That's it. And then there's not much time to do a lot of different stuff. Hope you're doing well, says Madi Shakerirat. How is the job market in Japan for .NET developers and MS Azure Cloud MS Azure Cloud developers, Microsoft Stack? I have no idea. I don't know, but I'm wondering. So I get job descriptions on LinkedIn because I'm on LinkedIn for what I've written there, which does not include this tech stacks, but every now and then maybe it happens. I'm not sure. But you could probably, I mean, just go to Gaijinpod or whatever job search thing and search for .NET. Then you will know. Or you go on LinkedIn and change your location to Tokyo, and then if all of a sudden a lot of recruiters get in touch, then you know also. Andre Müller says, I guess the worst part is the bureaucracy. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Germany has it as well, so. And sometimes it's pretty astonishingly easy in Japan. And what is nice is that people usually, if you have to do this kind of stuff, they're kind of supportive and friendly still. It's still service, you're still the customer. Exceptions apply to immigration office. So that's nice. Doesn't necessarily happen in Germany. It kind of depends on whom you get or where you are. For example, if you're in Munich, there may be a lot of people, they may be stressed out. If you are not in Munich, like in a town or so, there may be nobody. You just go there and then so nobody's there, and they come over from the next room where they just ate breakfast or something, yum, 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 and no problem at all. So, but in Japan, it's kind of service level is more consistent, I would say. Also for these kind of tasks. Did you ever try fiddling with a samurai sword? What's so special about Japanese blades? Fiddling. Wait a second. So I don't have one. I think I never touched one, but certainly know people who do. This is a Yaito. So this is not a real one. It's a practice sword. So this is what you can purchase and what you can use for training. I mean, you can also purchase sharp blades, and what you can also export. So it's not you don't need a special license to export it. So as you can see, I can touch it. And there's this one here, which means makes sound. So and practicality in real life these days, this means when you cut and you don't do too bad, and it makes like, and maybe not kind of this. But that's very nice. So I used to practice Iaido a little back when my teacher still taught it. A little back. When was that? 12 years ago. Until 12 years ago. And this is actually my wife's. What's so special about Japanese blade? Of course, it's a craft. So what goes into that? Into making this kind of quality iron or quality blades. And, you know, how long it takes and so on. I mean, they're cheap ones, quote unquote, for like maybe 8,000 euros or so, $10,000 ish or so, which are really made by a swordsmith and not by a machine. But there are not so many left in Japan. I think 60 or something like that, maybe. I think there's also one in Nagano. I tried to find one to make a video, but that may be hard. I may be able to do something after Corona with like a knife smith or so. That's that. So, why bowing your head is so special and important in Japan? A culture, just like shaking hands in the West, you know. In the West, you show you don't have anything no weapon in your hand, right? Your right hand is your weapon hand, or you do this in the army, so you open your visor as a knight. And in Japan, I think, I don't know the history of how it developed or so. It's just culture. It's also, very interestingly, so you may or may not know, in Japan you also bow when you're phoning. So And then one day my wife was talking to some, phone rang when we were driving, so I picked up and did it on speaker. And my wife talked and so on, and when she was done, I hung up. She's like, that was too fast. Because it's like, so you have your phone, and you say, hi, tsureshimasu. Right? You have to leave the space for the bow. And if the other person is, for example, some kind of service thing or so, they will only hang up once you have hung up. So they will hear you did it too fast. So she was very concerned about that. That's also there. Like a side note. Bureaucracy is annoying and sometimes a problem, but having no rules is also often a problem, certainly. And having rules that nobody follows is also a problem. I love how HQ your videos are. Thank you. I give my best. Then the shadow side of this part is, of course, takes forever for me to make one. Like one a month or so right now. Which is, I guess, what's possible with working full-time and having kids. When I hang up on people, I try to cut off at least one word that they are saying as I do it. Just joking, yes. Exactly. That's how we should do it. I have two glasses, one for the water and one for the, what's this? I forgot the English word. The tanne of the cherries. Oh yeah, no worries, Ramana. So since there are not so many questions in the chat and we are not so many people, it's no problem. Of course, one day, if there hopefully will be hundreds of thousands of people in the chat, then this will change. But now, so nice of you. Ain't nobody got time for this. Click. Out of all your videos on YouTube, which one was your most favorite to make? To make. Now I have to open my YouTube channel. Wait a second. I know which is my favorite, but not my favorite to make. Wait a second. Switch off audio. I mean, the yesterday one was fun, intense but fun. Fun to make. I had one 4 months ago, Japan covered in snow, Togakushi, which was also good. Also again intense, differently intense, but fun, because I was with a friend. It's also always good. Fun to make, nah. Let me see. Another one I liked is the learning Japanese with MIA, because this one was a little different. So MIA used to be, now it's called Refold, at least, or it kind of changed a little bit, and I guess Refold is what you would call it now. It's like a immersion approach to learning language. And there are a lot of people reporting the progress and so on, and they usually do it very extensively and very little editing. So they just to show where they are and what they did and what worked and what didn't. And I thought this of course provides value, but also you can do this more scripted, more concise, more on point, more entertaining. And that's what I tried with this one. So it was a little bit different from usual because I don't do that much language things. And I also did introduced me as another character with glasses very swiftly, and which is also fun. Then another one, let's see. didn't like this one. These no. Kihabara. Okay, then there's one. Why I'm in Japan, a love story, which I did, it says 1 year ago. And this was just, I thought, I should make a video. I just sat down and told this story from the top of my head, more or less. Almost no cuts, I think, because it's like just what happened in my life. And it was as a very positive thing that happened. Why I'm in Japan, the reason is very positive. So I enjoyed that. Yeah, probably this one. Staying in a traditional Japanese hotel, which I shot on my phone. It's not a good video, I think, but staying in a Japanese hotel is fun, so that was a good one. It's always a little bit, I was there with my family, and that's always challenging because the kids want to play and they run into frame, and I don't show my kids. So maybe that one. And of course the series I did with my friend about Wagyu, because Wagyu is just great. And this was the first time to have like Kobe beef and so on for both of us. And was really overwhelmingly, very good, overwhelmingly good. I feel like certain things, certain foods have like the normal taste, like beef or like cherries or melons or so on. And then there are things like that are just not comparable. They're like this archetypical taste that doesn't exist. It's completely gone. Something is different. It's a totally different rating scale. And this is one of that. And Japan has a couple of these foods, I think. Let's see. Yeah, maybe that's all. Let me stop answering here for this question. How many cities have you visited in Japan so far? I don't know. A couple. I don't know. I really don't know. But I don't travel so much, which is a disease, I think, of the people living. Just like in Germany, I wouldn't travel Germany just because I live there. Why would I do that? And once I'm not here as a tourist anymore, I think for most people, at least for me, and you work here and so on, then it's like, when should I travel? And like, should I use my holiday to travel Japan, or should I maybe go back to Germany or somewhere else? So yeah. Now I have thankfully this YouTube and so on, and I get to know more people through that also make YouTube videos and don't live in Nagano. So if I do something like a collab, which Andre asks, then I can travel more. But of course, with the family, it's also nice. Do you ever drink alcohol? If so, what's your favorite drink? I do, yeah, every now and then. What's my favorite drink? So I used to like, used to not like soft alcohol. Like whiskey I liked, and if it's cheap stuff, then also mixed. But recently I got to like German beer. Can you believe that? Because I had one here. I found one in the liquor store here, and had it like the first beer in 3 years or so. The first German was so good, amazingly good, that now they went out of stock. I actually bought some of them online. So maybe right now even German wheat beer may be my favorite. Some of them at least. But I don't drink a lot. I mean, I like drinking with people, and that's of course difficult right now. But every now and then, even I had one in the live stream, like twice or so. Dracula, I think first message, good to have you here. I missed the beginning of the stream. No worries. What's about not eating sugar? That means skipping many Japanese meals since they often include sugar. Yeah, mirin and so on, right? And shoyu maybe. Yeah, the thing is, yeah, I mean, I was not like fundamentally against sugar, so I'm certain I ate sugar in some by mistake, but generally, processed sugar I don't eat. I do eat fruits and so on, so as I said, I'm not. I mean, that would be way too annoying, I think, for other people if I wouldn't eat almost anything. But yeah, like this, like consciously not doing candy or cake and all the things that have obviously lots of sugar inside, or soft drinks and so on. That's what I did for the last 9 months. And in the first 3 months, I also didn't eat anything sweet. So that was a bit more extreme. So no fruits and so on as well. Plans on doing a collab. Yeah, kind of. So I had plans actually to go to Kyoto earlier this month. But then they extended the state of emergency, so I couldn't. But I wanted to go to Kyoto to see Dave Trippin again, friend of mine. Maybe do a video then. And another YouTuber, Ein Ticket zur Milchstraße, who's a German guy. Don't know if he would have made a video, just met or so. Maybe made one, I don't know. That was what I had planned. Then yesterday I had support from Tokini Andy, who teaches Japanese on YouTube. Maybe you know his channel. He's also like 17,000 or so now. And he's also from Nagano. And even though he probably he's not a character in the video really as in a collaboration. It was a collaboration of he and his girlfriend helping me to make the video. And outside of that, I don't have anything lined up, I think. But it's also like, since I now try to put so much effort into my videos, it's I don't have a lot of open slots anymore. I think the last one I did was with Victor, which I shot in December. Victor, Frame of Travel. Ineffable is the word you want to use to describe Wagyu. It means too great to be described with words. Yes, too delicious to talk. Candace Heath. Kind regards from Germany. Kind regards from Japan. Good to have you here. What about electric cars in Japan? Some of the biggest brands are from Japan. Yeah, especially hybrids are here a lot, I think. I feel. Like you often had it when they start. All electric, maybe more and more. So for example, yesterday when we were in this mountain village at the parking lot, they also had an electric charging station. But here, for example, I told my wife, I actually, when we get a car, I would like to get an electric one. Definitely not 100% gasoline, at least hybrid. She's like, okay, if you get an electric one, you want to charge it with the 110 normal outlet here. It's like, But our previous house in Yokohama, they had in the parking lot, it was a apartment building, they had also an electric charging thing. Nobody ever used it, but it was there. And yeah, there's some, I think. I never seen a Tesla though. It was probably so good because it reminded you of home. What is something that you only find in Japan that you love? My wife. And of course Wagyu, Kobe beef and so on. So Kobe beef is something. There's, I think, Kobe-like beef or so in the US, something like that, which is not Kobe beef. It's a very particular trademark. It's very hard to get, really, that. Oh yeah, there's a lot actually in Japan, I think. Probably it has to do with attitude a lot, but I can't really come up with it now because I lack the comparison, because I've been away for so long from Germany. Elmenok says, want to lose weight, just develop crippling stress and live a severe personal crisis. You're a shell of yourself, but you have the perfect beach body. Thank God I changed profession a few years ago. I can see that. That would do great with his Do X in One Easy Step series. Yes, exactly. Lose weight in One Easy Step. What was the other one? Yeah. Get a Japanese visa in One Easy Step. Now I remember. I'm begging that the rumors of a collaborative agreement between Toyota and Tesla are true. Oh, I have no idea though. I'm not really into the car stuff. But we have a car, so that's something. Episode 2 is in the box, yes. I should make something like that. Third one will be how to use your authority on a topic in one easy step. Make a video about. Do you watch Japanese movies, Netflix? What's your favorite? No, not really, I think. What was the last one I watched? Probably. I watched Kiri Haji, which is actually a BBC production, but plays kind of in Japan. It has lots of Japanese actors. But I didn't finish it. I think I watched 6 out of 8 episodes. And movies, I think the last Japanese movie I watched in the cinema was probably Kimi no Na wa, Your Name. So it's been a while. I think, yeah, not really so much into movies. Go get a job in one easy step. Go to an interview and pass it. Something that, that's a little bit how I felt about my video for getting a job in Japan, IT job in Japan, because like kind of applies to everywhere. Say a little bit specifics about Japan, but generally, of course, you shouldn't say stupid things, and you should know what you're doing and convince and have a good CV should be on point and all that. So yeah, probably applies to a lot of places. Something that just came to my mind on the topic of sugar and food. What's your typical breakfast in Japan? Usually it's I get up, go down, then on the weekend I bake bread, like small stuff. What's that? Small breads, and freeze them, like bake them, not to like edible, but very close. Then freeze them. Then I like put 2 of those into the toaster. This toaster thing that looks like a small oven. And eat them, and with something on them, whatever. And I cut fruits, usually banana, apple, cherries, not cherries, strawberries, maybe kiwi, and then eat that. That's it. And water. Which musical instrument is played commonly in Japan? I think most common maybe guitar. What is traditional would be maybe koto or shamisen or wadaiko. Wadaiko is cool, I think. Japanese drum. I want my kid to do that. I saw when they have like once a year they have the music performance in the kindergarten. And the oldest, so there's first year, second year, third year, right? In the third year, they did the wadaiko performance. They were really good, really nice. We loved that one. We took a video and we watched a couple of times. So that's how good it was. Actually, my brother told me Trump's foolproof method of becoming a millionaire: first, start with $1 billion, then, second, lose half of it. The classic. Learn how to beatbox in one easy step. Secret is to say cats and boots over and over. You're all welcome. Cats and boots, cats and boots. Yeah, in German it's böse Katze. I heard, Daniel heard that one. Saw a guide with those. You gotta take out the vowels. Cats and boots. Cats and boots. Oh, already 1 hour 44 minutes. Maybe I should come to an end slowly because I need to get up a little early tomorrow. And also my voice will be probably thankful. So let's maybe do 5 more minutes or so. Give me your questions. Anything. You whisper the vowels. There you go. Yeah, and then once you can do all that, you can perform. Sprichst du mehr Bayerisch oder mehr Hochdeutsch? Mehr Hochdeutsch. So do you speak in Bavarian accent or in a like standard German? Standard German. I think it's still. You can hear that I'm from the south probably. But I don't know which parts actually are. So now I work with a couple of Germans that are not from the south. And sometimes I ask them, "Do you have this word? Do you know what it means?" You don't. Okay. So that's happening. You answered my wife. That was the best answer ever. She doesn't watch it though. Both usually are standard German. Yeah, no, I mean I can't speak Bavarian. It takes me some time to understand it. It's usually like so Bavarian it's not like there's one Bavarian accent. It's like every village has a different one. For example, when I would visit my grandpa and the neighbor would come, it's like, wait a sec, what? And it takes some time, and then okay, maybe after like 20 minutes, then I'm like like my brain has adjusted to that kind of uncommon sound patterns, and yeah, probably if I were to speak Bavarian, then either it would be off, or I would sound like a standard German or non-Bavarian trying to speak Bavarian, which would also be off. Candace Heath says, if I remember right, you're an engineer in Japan, right? Yeah. How different is your daily work compared to work in Germany? I mean, that's hard to say. So I'm a little bit out of the actual engineering right now, but when I did, not so much. I feel like, yeah, it's the same. Probably it's very close. Language, of course. Nobody speaks German here. Almost nobody. I guess that's it. Which other countries you visited near to Japan and you pretty much like it? Italy. I like Italy. That was actually the first when I was young, like 10 or 15 or 12 or something, that age, teenager. Then I thought when I'm older I will move to Italy. If a train leaves Tokyo, driving... Oh, sorry, I skipped one. Oh, no, I didn't. Driving 50 miles per hour and a car leaves Sendai driving 45 miles per hour, how many times per live stream will you be asked about visas or jobs in Japan? It depends a little bit on the traffic. Is there a Cockney equivalent in German or Bavarian? I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly what Cockney... I know it's a British accent, but I don't know exactly what it entails or stands for, so I can't really say. As far as I have heard about the price for fruit is pretty high in Japan. Yes, I've also unfortunately experienced that. But then again, in Germany it's surprisingly cheap. But what about the quality? It's a little bit, of course, you pay what you get what you pay for, but you also get bad stuff in Japan. You also get good stuff in Germany. But in Germany also, like for example, until 2014, I would live very close to a fruit store or a vegetable fruit store, and I would go there just because it's better. Oh, obviously they were more expensive, but like you can have things that look like tomatoes and taste like water, or you can have things that look like tomatoes and taste like tomatoes. What do you choose? And one is like 20% more expensive, and I chose the one that tastes like tomato. I chose the real tomatoes. So yeah, it's a little bit pay what you get what you pay for, but then of course it's in the reference point is within Japan, not Japan to Germany. So the baseline is higher in Japan, I think, for fruit and stuff. you said ask anything. Yeah, there you have your answer. Then, like, go strawberries from Japan to bed super quick as well, like over here. I don't know really. I think it depends if you put them in the fridge or not. Try that. Because it depends. Especially now it's getting hotter and hotter, and if you leave them outside, yes, probably. But in the fridge you can keep them a week or so. I think. Candace Heat says, thanks for the answer. Have a great evening. Alles Gute. Jute aus Deutsch. Alles Gute aus Deutschland. Where do you say Jute again? Anyway. Ja, alles Gute. Zurück. This is one of my favorite channels. Oh, thank you. Abumayang. Just want to ask you, do you have specific times you live stream? I'm gonna start my own journey. Don't know what yet, but we'll share it someday. I live stream every Saturday at 9 p.m. Japanese time. Japanese time is UTC plus 12, so UTC 0. It's UTC plus 9, so UTC 12 would be 9 p.m. Japanese. UTC noon. But only that time, one day per week, and that's it. And on the weekend, because it's weekend. Okay, have a great evening, Ramana. You too. Yeah. Almost everything eaten in Japan is grown in Hokkaido. Yes, that's true. Live here and prices are surprisingly okay. Oh, how come? Yeah, I saw a documentary or so where they sold potatoes, and like, how much do you get for this 100 kilos of potatoes? Like $1 or something like that. Like, I pay like $3 for 3 potatoes. Like one or something, like seriously, sometimes. But here at least, Nagano City already, even I'm in the rather densely populated part of the city in comparison, here they already have lots of fields and vegetable gardens and so on. One thing you may or may not know, in Japan you can't park your car on the street. In Germany, for example, you can, so lots of people just leave their cars outside of their property. And that means, again, in Japan, a lot of the space of, for example, a house or something. If you have property, you have your house, and then you have 2 or so, 1 or 2, probably 2 parking spaces. And that means there's not a lot of garden left. And there's not this kind of just lawn is not very frequent. Sometimes you see the traditional stuff, which like a lot of nice trees and stuff, or big stones thrown in there, maybe a pond even. Kind of unusable in my eyes. Looks nice. I mean, why would you? Anyway. And the other way of using it is vegetables. So that's what's happening. Like onions and stuff and this and that. Interestingly. And I like that because I also like to grow stuff. Okay. And since there are currently, in this moment, no new questions, I would say it's a good time to say thank you today. Of course, big thank you for the donation to Alminox, and have a fantastic evening. Look out for the next video to come, hopefully soon. And thank you for your time. So appreciate it every time that you share your precious lifetime with me and the others. With that being said, as always, thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.